absolutely gutted. Well, what a Sunderland way to lose that game, eh? Oh my God. That is so infuriating. Whether you think Leeds deserve to win it or not, the fact of the matter is you shouldn't be conceding with pretty much the last kick of the game. And to be honest, I don't know whether, I need to look at it back here, and I'm not a goalkeeper by the way, so I don't know whether people felt Pato could have come out for that, but in my opinion, I also thought it was shocking defending. Why Stružek has just been allowed to run into the 6-yard box completely unchallenged and basically gain a free header on the Sunderland goal is that's the sort of stuff that really annoys me, and goals like that, I'm not gonna lie, piss me off. They really piss me off with that. Now, to some extent, well, no, I can't really live with it, not when you're going in front, but I think in the first half, Sunderland were really, really good, and I felt out of possession in particular, our structure was what I wanted it to be across the whole game, especially in the last 15-20 minutes. But for me personally, I felt in the first half we deserved to be in front. I think that we were really good with the ball. We were really good in terms of restricting, so I'll just go like that. We were really good at restricting Leeds to, frankly, very little, and I felt like, yeah, there was a couple of efforts straight at Patterson, really, but in general, I felt we restricted their quality with superb ease, weirdly. And Isidore obviously did brilliantly for his goal when he managed to shrug off Ampadu, which isn't an easy thing to do, because Ampadu is easily one of the best players in the Championship, and you could argue should be playing in the Premier League. But he manages to shrug his man off and then obviously score off the post, which obviously every finish always looks better when a shot that you have goes in and off the post. And it's, at half time, I was pretty buzzing with that. I thought, actually, we've shown we can compete. And then the second half comes. Now, to be fair, to some degree, I am going to be a bit lenient on the lads because I've said before, Leeds, for me, are the best team in the league by some way, particularly over Burnley and Sheffield United. And I feel like they should go on to win the division. And that's a massive win for them. I'm not going to begrudge them for that. But obviously, I'm a Sunderland fan. And for me, I was absolutely livid to lose it in that fashion. I was livid to lose it full stop, to be honest. But certainly in that sort of fashion. For me, did Leeds deserve to win? You could certainly make an argument for the fact they did deserve to win. Personally, I think a defeat was harsh on us. I felt like in the second half, and I know it's obviously in the heat of the moment, people aren't going to probably say this, but because it's the emotion and it's the desperation to want to get promoted. But for me personally, I think we restricted Leeds probably until the subs came on, to be fair. Until the subs came on, I think Sunderland were very good at restricting. Again, the second half, we restricted Leeds to shots straight at Pato or some long range efforts, and up till probably the 75th, 77th minute, we were generally very, very good. But we didn't do much, obviously, going forward. But I think anyone expecting Sunderland to come here and dominate the ball, unfortunately, you're probably living in a head in the clouds. And I wish I could say it wasn't the case, but unfortunately, Leeds were always going to have the majority of the territory and the majority of the play. We were never going to come here and dominate the game unless they had a man or two sent off. So, but yeah. As for the two goals, look, the free kick, I mean, we kept giving away foul after foul after foul, which I kind of get because it's very hard against a side of that quality to keep repeatedly stay in shape, and I do understand that. Personally, for me, maybe I'm being hypercritical here. I felt like the set piece for the equaliser, I felt one of our lads, it was poor for one of our lads not to get to the header ahead of Gruev, I think it was, or Stružek. It was quite poor, in my opinion, to sort of let that goal go in, but to be fair, the free kick was really good delivery, so I can't really complain as much with that. The winner, as I've said, I think you can either blame Pato to an extent for not coming out for it, and if not, I felt the defending was pretty shocking for it, to be honest. Even if we'd deserved anything or not, you don't concede in the last minute. You at least come away and get a point out of that. Now, look, and one thing in the second half that really boiled my blood when I was watching it was the fact that, yes, I accept Leeds are quality. There's no getting away from that. Leeds are absolute quality, and it's much harder than people think to sort of, just retain possession and not give it back to Leeds at any point. I didn't expect that. But what annoyed me was our ball retention when we had it. I thought at times was awful in the second half. And I know that Leeds are great, don't get me wrong. But Sunderland are up there for a reason. We're not a bad side ourselves. And for me to constantly I was saying to the TV, guys, you do know Leeds are like really good and don't need your help to win the ball. So to repeatedly keep on giving it to them was really starting to, well, frankly, piss me off. I don't care if people don't like bad language. Obviously, it's in the heat of the moment, and I'm annoyed at the way we kept on surrendering the ball. And I'm not talking necessarily when Leeds pressed us, because obviously that's hard to contain with, especially with how Leeds play, and especially with how aggressive they play and how, the quality that they have. But It was more when we weren't under pressure, and I was like, well, guys, come on. Like, essentially, a long series of, and I know we had a lot of time to stop this afterwards, but the long series of events that led to the winner, every time so half the time when they did anything, it was down to the fact that we kept on giving the ball away, and we were sloppy with it, and we tried to fancy one-touch passing, and this is where, and I'm sick of hearing, oh, this team's young. Guys, come on. Another of these players have had enough appearances to have a bit more street smart than that. But look, it did annoy me. The way that we kept on surrendering possession when we did it cheaply really did annoy me. Where does that leave the top two race? Well, obviously, of course, Sheffield United got a win at the weekend, didn't they? I guess it just depends. If Sheffield United's luck starts running out, because I maintain what I've said. I can accept it with Leeds. Leeds are just superior. That's fair enough. But with Sheffield United, I stand by what I've said. I don't, despite the league position, and don't get me wrong, they've done great to be there. They've done great, and if they keep doing this, why should they complain? If they get promoted, why should they complain? That's absolutely fair enough. But what annoys me is, I've watched Sheffield United about probably a dozen times this season. Nearly every single game, they have been winning games that they haven't deserved to win. And yes, you can say that's a sign of a good team. But when it happens that often, it shouldn't be happening that often, to tell you the truth. But hey-ho, look, no dig at Sheffield United. It's just frustrating to me that we're 8 points behind them, because for me, we really shouldn't be. Now, I will say for top two, it's on its last legs. Like, I'm not going down the "oh, it's done" route, because I know there will be some fans that feel that way, and that's fair enough. But for me personally, I will say this, mind: if we do not win on Saturday, then I think it's playoffs. I think we've got to sort of, and it's disappointing really, because we can't have nice things, can we? But like, for me, and don't get me wrong, playoffs is still a very good season. I'm not going to go as far as calling it fantastic, because I think the squad we had last season really did underperform, and I think what we had was always capable of finishing in the playoffs with the right manager, or right head coach rather. But what I would say is that if we win against Hull, we need Leeds to beat Sheffield United. If we win and Leeds win next week, then I think what will help us is that the gap will be back to 5 points again, and I think then, you know, this is still a slimmer of hope there. Like I've said, for me, if we are going to get if we're to have any remote last chance of top two or automatic promotion, the only way we're going to do it is by finishing ahead of Burnley and Sheffield United. I've been saying this for months now. But if we don't win on Saturday, then I'll say it's done, and it's absolutely done, because then, you know, the gap's just too big to overturn at that point for me, especially with only a quarter of the games left. Yeah, we've got to dust ourselves down. Let's get on to Hull at the weekend, and if it is going to be playoffs, let's at least gain some momentum. The good thing is that Mundell and Watson are to come back into the team, and hopefully we can stay largely injury-free in the run to the playoffs if it's necessary. But we'll wait and see. We will absolutely wait and see what ends up happening. Anyway, guys, I love you and leave you. On to Hull, no excuses. Got to be beaten then. You know, you've got to earn the right first and foremost, but if we want to have any last hope of it, there's got to be 3 points. Simple as that for me. Anyway, guys, I love you and leave you. If you're a regular subscriber and you're watching the video, of course, and you're not subscribed rather, then yeah, hit the sub button. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost a penny, as Sean says. And yeah, comment respectfully below what you think, and also, yeah, like, share the video around. That'd be much appreciated. See you at the weekend. How are the lads?